So it looks pretty much like we're going to be getting Jorge stepping in for Burns.
I'm happy about that. Rankings wise, that's probably the right fight to make. Well, I guess not technically because Gilbert's number one, but the whole time Jorge was supposed to be the guy next.
He is deserving. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But again, stylistically, I feel like the Burns fight was much more competitive.
Right.
And even Colby. Like, if they were to do a Colby rematch, I'd be totally down for that.
Right.
I think the only person that would dethrone Usman is Colby.
The thing is, I'm just wondering, like, from what we've seen, Masvidal is the type of guy to get stuck just defending and kind of run out of time to do anything himself. So it seems like a bad stylistic matchup, but I hope he has changed enough in his last few fights. Like, ever since he came back and knocked out Till, he just seems like completely different. So I hope that is the case and he can separate more, because on the feet, he's got an advantage over Usman there. For sure.
He does.
In terms of power and skill. Especially this new
power,
version.
I'm not 100% sure.
I would say striker-wise, Masvidal's got the power edge right now.
I think his technique definitely helps him. His better... his better handling of a technique
not
is better.
Natural raw strength, 100%.
Usman's got some power.
But his technique,
sure.
I think, makes up for enough that he probably hits a little harder.
But the thing with Usman is, with his style, he's a hit you at 60% kind of guy to go the full 25 minutes or 50% kind of guy.
Like in that Colby fight, those were stiff shots.
Yeah, exactly. To break a guy's jaw off a punch is
but
that just
Usman's
shows you
not
that.
known to just. He's never really gotten a knockout.
Yeah. He's
only
not like
Sergio Moraes, and who gives a shit?
Yeah, exactly. And that was such a weird knockout too. If you remember that one,
was just like overhand right, and he just kind of fell.
Yeah,
that was weird.
Stylistically, I did prefer the Burns fight just because I feel like he has way more ways to threaten. I just think Usman's going to completely style on Masvidal. Like, there's no fighter with his gas tank, with his wrestling, with his pace, just the way that he is, even the way his body's built. Like, there's nobody like him. I truly think he is our next great welterweight king. He may not be the most entertaining.
Very well might be.
But nor was GSP. You know what I mean? GSP wasn't entertaining either.
Has he lost a round? Okay, against Colby, finally, he lost a couple of rounds.
But that's a guy.
Fight,
but that's a guy.
Lost a round?
That's a guy that has a similar style of fighting, but just doesn't have that extra oomph, right? That Usman has.
That's the thing about Usman. Oh, he's not exciting. I think he's got like 2 finishes, the Colby and the Sergio Moraes. But every other fight, it's going to decision, and he wins every second.
Complete domination.
It's not even close. There's no debate as to who won.
It's a very bad stylistic matchup for Jorge. Very
here's
bad.
The thing. Based on what we've seen from Jorge overall, but I don't know if he's going to come out in terms of like and be more of like a killer here, defend well and put Usman out. I could totally see that happening.
I don't see it.
But I will say you got to lean Usman easily in this fight. If you told me to pick who's going to win, I'm definitely going to go with Kamaru Usman.
Yeah.
But
do you have the odds? Do you know? Have you seen the odds?
I'm not ready to just completely write out Masvidal. I think he could. I wouldn't be too shocked if he won. Odds.
Did you see them or
no? I didn't. So okay. I would say they should be at least minus 300 Usman, plus 230 Masvidal.
Let's see if they added them. Usman Masvidal minus 260 Usman.
I was thinking minus 250 at first, but then I went minus 300. So
I think BetOnline was the first one to drop them. They dropped it at minus 260.
I feel like that line. You know what? Masvidal's really popular with the casual audience, though. So you might get a lot of that better line. Like so, McGregor lines are always skewed.
Look at this: 5 dimes. Opened him at minus 350. Got bet down to minus 260.
Oh, wow. See, there you go. That's where I would fight back.
I'm waiting for the dumb casual money to come in
because I will dumb just watch the Nate Diaz fight and they're like, Jorge's my boy, yo. He's gonna beat him.
Look what he did to that guy where he flying kneed him. If he catches Usman with a flying knee, I'll eat my own shoe.
Imagine if they said that. Honestly. It's like, well, Ben Askren was arrested too, and he flying kneed him. It's like, come on, dude, that's not an argument.
If that knee misses, it's a 15-minute decision victory for Van Askren.
There's a very good chance of it, Probably. Although I won't say that because Askren definitely was like
he started going on the decline.
In his prime.
Yeah, he was on the decline for sure.
Yeah, he was in mid-30s. Hips were fucked up, had been off for a while, so he still probably could have beat that version of Askren. But that version of Askren is not anything that you can compare to Kamaru Usman.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Usman, he has everything you want in a fighter.
He really does.
Everything. The power, the wrestling.
Outside of, like, better finishing is the only thing maybe you could say.
But it's utter dominance every time he steps into the cage.
Utter dominance.
I love his style, and I just don't think anybody will come close to beating him. The only person is Colby. Colby is the only one. I kind of hope they do end up having the rematch, and then he wins the rematch, and then we get a rubber match. That would be a lot better.
Did you ever rewatch that fight
after? I haven't, but I want to just because I will in preparation for this.
During the fight, I had it 3-1 Usman, And then when I rewatched it, I had it 3-1 Colby going.
Oh yeah, I think you were
round.
telling me about that. Yeah.
So I remember watching it live. I'm like, it doesn't matter if he gets the finish or not. He's going to win a decision, and he actually would have because the cards were split. But afterwards, I'm like, I kind of see it.
Same styles,
He just
dude.
looked like he was getting fucked.
They're
up.
the same styles.
Yeah.
Usman just has a little extra like power too. Like he was the one landing with the bigger pop on his shots too, which really start to sway it. And again, it was split going into that fifth, but it would have gone to Usman either way. Again, marketability. This is probably the best fight they can make on short notice, especially like I'm very intrigued to know how much extra they gave Masvidal for taking it on a week's notice.
Is it confirmed?
I
just saw negotiating.
Dude, there's so many things like where's
Masvidal probably called his agent, said right now because they need a main event.
He was
I could
tweeting all this like
more
random
money
stuff. Let me see if I can pull up his Instagram.
He knows
actually.
he can, even though they want to pay him the same as the Nate fight, he can get at least a little more than that just because they're in a bit of a jam. This is a good time.
So this is all this. Oh, okay, wait, never mind. He had stuff on his story where he was like calling people and doing his COVID test and doing all this type of stuff. And then recently, John Anik just tweeted this thing. Where did it go? Miami to Vegas to Abu Dhabi to Yas Island to UFC 251. And then his Jorge's manager quote tweets that. He goes, that's a BMF schedule right there or itinerary right there. So you know what the fuck he's talking about. And Ariel
They want it, but I guess the UFC has to okay their asking price. That's the whole thing. That's the holdup.
Ariel was saying Usman is, so he goes, man, that's a BMF flight itinerary right there. Yeah, I'm sure the fight's going to be announced very shortly. I'm sure they got a little bit of a pay raise just to come in and save the day. But I think it's a bad move for Jorge. Like, he probably should have tried squeezing out. He probably should have tried squeezing out at least one more money fight, whether it was the Nate rematch or whether it was a Conor fight. Still use the heat that's behind you, because after this fight, the heat's going to be gone.
But here's the thing: there's no indication that a fight like that is even on the horizon. So he would probably have to sit out a lot.
The Nate one is the closest one.
But even that, maybe behind the scenes, he knows like, when are we going to get Nate back in the octagon? Like, they'd have to pay a lot to get that fight done. Even I don't know if their UFC's interested in doing that one again. So if Jorge sits out, he's 33, 34, so he's got maybe 2-3 years. Like, he came into his own a little later, and he's got to capitalize now. So I kind of get where he's coming from, but at the same time, this is definitely the hardest matchup for probably his smallest paycheck that you can get. So
we don't know what that paycheck's like now, just because of the circumstances, right?
But like, you fight Nate again, you're probably making more, and it's easy as fuck relatively.
Is it though? Like,
relatively to fight Usman?
What I mean, like, do you still think he's going to get paid more to fight Nate? Like, do you think people will still be on that Masvidal train even after he loses?
I think
if he loses this fight, it's going to be like...
I think for sure Nate Masvidal 2 does more numbers than Usman Masvidal.
Well, they're lucky though, because this fight card is stacked as shit.
Yeah, it's a stacked one. So
right?
How much do you think this is going to do? Like, this is like,
this is not going to hit 1 million.
700,000-800,000 pay-per-view.
Probably.
That's what I was thinking.
And again, we're never going to know those numbers though. That's the shitty part about this ESPN era, is that they can hide those numbers completely now. So I find it meaningless to even try to figure out how much they're going to sell. Regardless, I think Usman's going to whoop him here, and it's really going to tarnish him. It's not going to have this, like, his heat doesn't have the staying power that Conor's heat has, because Conor is just another level, right? Jorge, I think he's just hot right now because he's on the winning streak. He had the cool finishes, the Nate Diaz big BMF fight. The Rock puts the belt on him and all that shit. But after he loses this fight, I think it's going to go away.
You have to, really take into consideration too, why did he get so big off the Nate fight? Because he actually beat up Nate. Like, a lot of guys don't beat him up. They just kind of like eke out a decision, maybe control, or like, he actually just, went to war with him and fucked him up completely and dismantled him.
Yeah.
So, I think RDA kind of did that, but that was like a listless Nate when he wasn't even that popular. So
yeah, nobody really even cared about that back then.
It was the right way to win. So Usman, if he wants to steal some thunder here, like, if Usman goes out there and just dominates him for 5 rounds, he's not going to win any more fans. The guys who came in to watch Masvidal are not going to be like, I'm going to tune in next time to watch Usman.
If he finishes,
they're going to be like, fuck this guy, you ruined Masvidal. Like, that's what they're going to say.
He should probably go out there and finish him and finish him convincingly.
Yeah, if he fights like a badass and fucks him up, okay, that's a different story. Now you're going to get some more fans.
So they still haven't officially announced it, which is why it's not on the card. But we still have another big ass fight on this weekend. Volkanovski and Holloway too. I don't think anything's going to be different. Did you see that thing where Holloway said he hasn't seen his coaches and stuff until like yesterday or the day before or something?
No, that's not.
Like, I think it's just a play, like a smoke screen to fuck around with people, but also because like in Hawaii, they're still technically on lockdown. So they're not allowed to be in gyms or mingling about and all that stuff. So that might be a reason as to why he said that. But after that interview came out, the odds swung in fucking Volkanovski's favor because a lot of people actually bought into that.
And yeah, if you haven't been training and preparing specifically for Volkanovski's tricks coming out of that camp, like that's a tough fight to win.
Look at that, went from minus 190 all the way down to minus 240. All the money came in on Volkanovski around that time. I don't think anything's going to come different of it because the main part of that winning game plan was his leg kicks, right? How are you really going to continuously train for defending leg kicks?
Holloway started to get going in the 4th and 5th rounds better. He kind of. I think it was still kind of like
I'd have to watch it back. I'm gonna watch it back again.
I think I still had it 4-1 Volkanovski, but a lot of people had it 3-2 because they gave Holloway the final round. So who knows? Like for me, I could see it as Holloway kind of started to figure him out and maybe ran out of time a bit. But there's always the inverse, right? Volkanovski knows that Holloway's going to figure out what he did and he's going to come back with more tricks.
And so they have a great camp too.
Amazing camp. So if you don't think that camp is going to know that Holloway's going to figure out what they did and they have to do something different, it's not going to be... It might play out similarly in terms of being like a technical fight, but it's probably not going to be for the same reasons at all as the first fight.
It's hilarious, though, that the odds are like the complete opposite from the last fight.
Yeah, it was
because Volkanovski was like plus 160-ish, plus 180-ish. I remember I hit him, and now we're getting roughly the same thing here. I'm still confident in Volkanovski. I think he's going to go out there and get the victory. I think that
it seems that
slightly altered game plan. He could still find a way to beat Max Holloway. He's just such a tank, man, and his cardio is good. His striking is good. He can mix it up very well too. Max Holloway, it's kind of shitty that his time at the top was like, what was it, 2 title defenses. That was about it. But like you can't even say, okay, let him go up to 155 because we saw that experiment happen and it didn't really turn out well for him. He looked really slow in that fight too. I watched that back recently, the Poirier and Holloway fight. He looked weirdly slow. Like he was getting tagged so much.
Yeah, he just kept getting tagged. It was like Poirier couldn't miss in the first 2 rounds.
I'm like, how was Aldo not able to do this to him? And then he was able to pull away with that. But
Max is really good at sliding just out of range and getting back into his range. So when he fights an Aldo who's so much smaller, way easier.
That's true.
But then as soon as it's someone like, maybe if you're sliding in and out kind of the same amount, but now it's Poirier and he can actually reach you when you slide out, that's a problem now. So,
what do you think about, speaking of Aldo, what do you think about that fight? The bantamweight strap between him and Peter Yan? Because we got, what are the odds? It's crazy because minus 235 Peter Yan.
Yeah, it's crazy because you'd think it should just be Peter Yan beating somebody and officially finally being declared the bantamweight champ, but Aldo can beat anybody still. And like, especially after the way he looked against Moraes. Like, I thought we're going to see a diminished Aldo who's going to probably get fucked up and it's going to be sad. Instead, he comes out and looks like he's a top contender at bantamweight. Like, what the fuck? So, I don't know. I will not be shocked if Jose Aldo wins this fight and actually finishes Peter Yan. I could totally see it.
I want to be super confident in Peter Yan, but I can't play him at that minus 235 because I feel like it should be slightly closer, right? Aldo's on another, like he's still there, like he's still there. He was very close to winning that Moraes fight, and that was against a guy who has it was questionable gas tank himself.
Yeah.
But what I'm most curious about is 135 Aldo in a 5-round fight, because 145 Aldo in a 5-round fight always seemed to dwindle in those last 2 rounds.
Well, not recently as much, like more towards the beginning of his career because he got smaller a bit.
But let's just look at his little his past little resume.
But I mean, he didn't look like he was tired at all at the end of 3 rounds with Marlon. So,
but I think that the pace that he's going to get from Peter Yan is going to be a different type of pace.
Yeah, Peter Yan's young, and if he's smart, he should just crowd Aldo, get in his face.
So he lost the Volkanovski fight by decision, lost the Moraes fight by decision, only needed 2 rounds for a Moicano, 1 round for Jeremy Stevens, and then he hasn't seen a 5th round since his fight with Frankie Edgar back at UFC 200.
Easily outpointed him.
It seemed like he had Frankie just so figured out, like it was weird.
Yeah, it was like it was too easy for him. Before it was like a sparring session for him.
So Chad Mendes, UFC 179 was his last 5-round fight before that.
And actually, that was a back and forth war.
That
and
was a crazy fight.
He didn't look that tired. I think it was definitely the Lamas fight, I'd say. It's probably the last time.
He really looked tired.
That was when he literally laid on his back for the 5th round because he knew he won the first 4 and didn't do anything there.
I remember the Hominick one though, man. That was close, man.
There,
in that fucking arena too, or that stadium, that was fucking sick. Yeah, it's scaring me a little bit to possibly bet Peter Yan because Aldo is still fucking Aldo, and as much as it may surprise you, he is only 33 still.
Yeah, I know. I actually know
considering
that,
how long he's been around.
There's some of those fighters, right? Like Jeremy Stevens, like he's like 34. He feels like he should be 58.
Yeah, that's so true.
Like, what the fuck is going on?
How old is Peter Yan? 27. Fuck off. He's so young. Yeah. God damn.
This is he should definitely win this. Like, even if he gets tagged, but he's young, he should be able to take it. And he's tough as fuck.
He's so good. I'm really looking forward to him. I think he only has one loss on his record, and he's avenged it.
And he's got that Chris boxing.
Is it 14-1? Yeah, I think he lost to Magomedov and then beat him.
He needs to lost by split, then unanimous beat him. So he really avenged it. He needs to. I think he needs to just come out and run through Aldo and make that statement. Like,
just let him know right off the bat. I'm not scared of you.
Like, listen, we know we got a vacant belt and no one knows what's going on. I'm the fucking king.
Dude,
let's make sure.
I can't wait for the Peter Yan era.
Yeah.
No Dragon era, but like this is the.
And then I was never fully sold on Sterling, but man,
that was crazy.
That's gonna be a fun fight. Jesus, Sterling's one of those guys where he'll come out and not look that great, then you'll get a step up in competition. You're like, well, he didn't like dominate that guy, so why would he beat this guy? And then he still goes out and beats that guy. You're like, what the fuck? There's something there. Like, I guess just the way he fights each individual fight maybe is so like.
I think
like,
this
what
is
the fuck? He just does it.
This fight against Peter Yan would be a lot tougher for him than the Corey Sandhagen fight. I don't think he'll be able to go out there right away and do exactly that to Peter Yan.
But it's also styles, right? He might not try to do that to Peter Yan because maybe that's not the right way to fight.
You can't just rush Peter Yan. He's probably going to catch you with something if you're trying to come in. Like
I think Sterling would stay more on the outside and try and use his kicks because Yan's a boxer, right? You don't want to box with him.
Crazy. His Muay Thai overall is just really good too. His kicks are not that bad. I'm glad we're getting the rematch of Jessica Andrade and Rose Namajunas. Weird way the first fight ended with that slam. Up until that point,
Rose was tuning her up.
Yeah, Namajunas wasn't.
I will say, if you rewatch that fight, the first round she was tuning her up, then the second round she was for the first minute or two. But then Andrade just kept walking forward, and it felt like Rose slowed down a bit. Like she wasn't as.
She's giving her toes.
So she was actually eating some shots because of the pressure. So it was slightly turning around, but I mean, not. You
got to give it to Rose though for taking this fight in her comeback fight. Pretty much, considering the circumstances of COVID, considering you're fighting the person that you're probably most scared of. This is the immediate rematch, right? Like
no. However,
did she face somebody after that? No.
Another thing, if you're Rose though,
yeah, holy fuck, she hasn't fought since May of last year.
Another thing about Rose though. You should be confident in this. If you didn't make that one mistake, you probably, like, skill-wise, this is not even close. Rose fucks her up every day of the week if Andrade is not as tough as she is and she doesn't make, any sort of defensive mistake. So I think in that sense, like...
She's also lucky here that it's 3 rounds compared to the 5 that they were initially supposed to fight.
If she feels like... I train properly, I feel good coming in, then she should easily win this, I think. Because then her confidence is up, and I could beat this girl. I fucked her up in the first round badly.
I would love to see her, like peak Rose against Wiley would be a fucking amazing fight.
I think everybody
that would be a
wants
stupid fight.
I think that's why the UFC made this fight. They're like, please, Rose, redeem that loss, come back.
We'll give you a title shot right after that. Yeah. But remember, she was always so like skeptical about having the title again. Like, even after she lost it, she was just,
Rose is definitely
I'm at peace with it. So
a bit of a interesting person.
Yeah. Good way to put it. Yeah. I love how they're starting the main card with Rose, or sorry, not Rose, but somebody that Rose murked, Paige Van Zandt and Amanda Ribas. It's very funny to me that Amanda Ribas, when she made her UFC debut, she was a very slight dog to Emily Whitmire. She goes out there, gets a fucking murks her, pretty much. Who did she beat after that? She had a big win right after that as well, too.
Yeah, she just beat Mackenzie Dern, no?
She beat Mackenzie Dern, and then she beat Randa Marcos as well, too. So she's on a little bit of a run. She's 9-1, and now she's coming into this fight against Paige as like a minus 900 favorite, minus 850 favorite.
This fight was, I think everybody had the same reaction when it was announced. They're like, oh shit, the UFC is done with PVZA. Like,
well, props to PVZ first and foremost
for taking the fight.
for taking the fight.
Why did she take this fight? Especially if she's pissed off about her contract and her pay right now. Why the fuck did you take this fight at that pay?
See, this is another theory though.
Or she just wants to get it off the contract.
Exactly. This is the last fight on her contract. She wants to get it over with. Win, lose, or draw. She knows she's still a draw.
She just wants to. Yeah, that is a good point, because even if Amanda Ribas ruins her, another organization
Bellator
is just going to
is
be
easily
like,
going to pick her up. Bellator
yeah, they're
will
going to be
easily
like,
pick her
what?
up.
She's pretty. Who gives a shit? And she will sell, and yeah, she will bring eyes to the product. Yeah, you're right. She probably just wants to fight it out. Whatever happens, happens, and then I'll be a free agent and I can go make more money.
This is also at flyweight, I just realized. So she is going up a weight class.
Maybe she's just like, it's not worth it to.
Oh, wait, she did. No, sorry, she fought,
Oh yeah, she already moved up.
yeah, Rose Clark and Ostovich.
Yeah, she already moved up.
Yeah, she hasn't fought in. It's going to be like a year and a half since she had last stepped into the cage. So, good fight. At least, props to Paige for taking the fight. Again, it's probably just to want to get the contract over with and get out of the UFC. It more than likely will be her last fight in the UFC. Failed experiment on the UFC side, but you can't just bank on looks when you want to market a fighter, right? You need somebody like Rose. Like, Rose is a fighter. As much of a mental case as she is every now and then, she goes out there and she performs.
She's a highly skilled fighter, and she's pretty. So
exactly.
You got that.
So, failed Paige experiment. But man, if she wins this fight, though, that would be insane. UFC would probably pay her if she wins this fight.
Yeah.
That's the difference, right?
I mean, you can't get thrown more to the wolves than this. So if
exactly.
you come out and you win, okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Finally, we get the UFC debut of Jiri Prochazka. I gotta really hammer that name
probably
down.
a little too late. Like, you probably should have came by a little earlier, but why not?
That's the thing. He seems quite. I think he's up there in age too.
31, 32? Or is he a little older? Because he's fought a lot in Japan, right?
Yeah, he was with Risen. I feel like he's still young though. 26, 3-1. He is. Where's his age? 27.
Oh, he's only 27? What the fuck? I thought this guy was
Dude,
like
he's
34,
been around since
maybe.
time. When did he debut? 2012.
At least up to 34.
So 8 years ago. He was
he's
19.
young. He's young.
But he's faced some
he's not even
names,
in his
dude.
prime. He's a light heavyweight too. That division
look,
needs this shit.
Early in his UFC career, or in his pro career, he lost to Bojan Veličković, who's now a welterweight at PFL. Abdul Karim Edilov, this guy was in the UFC, was doing very well, and then he's just like, fuck it, I only want to fight in Russia. So he left the UFC after a win. Who else did he fight? Darko Stosic, he has a win over. Satoshi Ishii, Vadim Nedkov. That's a good one. That's a good one for him there.
Lost to Lawal.
And then he redeemed himself yeah. Carl Albrechtsen, Jake Hume, Brandon Halsey, Mohamed Lawal, Fabio Maldonado, CB Dalloway. So
it's a good resume.
I'm glad that he's finally in the UFC. There's another guy actually that just is making his UFC debut.
This is a big statement if he can come in and take out the number 7 guy, Volkan. Like, this, and he's a fresh.
They're putting him right into it, which is good too. Good for him. I'm glad that he's getting like at least again. They need a little juice.
He wins this fight, 1, maybe 2 fights, he gets title shot.
Especially if he wins it convincingly too.
Yeah, 100%.
Right, if he goes out there and that'd be fucking very, very impressive. Zaleski dos Santos versus Muslim Salikov is a very fun fight.
I don't know Salikov. I've seen the name. I can't picture.
He's mainly like a type. He's like kickboxer. Sanda. He's not a wrestler really. He's more of a like striker, like spinning shit and stuff. Very, very fun fighter. But he has a couple interesting. Well, Alex Garcia is his only loss. Beaten by rear naked choke.
Okay, he knocked out Nordin Taleb, I think.
That one was nuts. That one was nuts. And then he just beat Laureano Staropoli. So that should be a fun striking fight. Makwan Amirkhani finally coming back, fighting against Danny Henry, who hasn't fought for a while now.
Amirkhani just feels like he's always going to be that guy you put on international cards in Europe, and it's always going to be like an unranked number 20-ish guy that he fights.
He's fun to watch, though. He is fun to watch.
Kind of. When he starts to get fucked up, he just grapples and holds you.
Yeah, Shane Burgos fucked him up last time. Leonardo Santos, who like fights once every 7 years, is finally coming back.
This guy knocked out Kevin Lee and then didn't fight for 4 years or something?
Yeah, then he beat Adriano Martins by decision, then didn't fight for 3 years, and then came back and just knocked out Stevie Ray. He's a jiu-jitsu guy too, which is fucking hilarious.
Well, that's why Kevin Lee even said, he's like, the reason I got knocked out was because I thought this guy's a jiu-jitsu guy, he can't hurt me.
Yeah. So Leonardo Santos fighting a new debuter. Julian Paiva just knocked out Mark De La Rosa. He's fighting a new UFC guy too.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a good one.
David Grant against Martin Day as well. That's the first fight that actually. Oh yeah, Maxim Grishin. This guy came over from PFL, so he's stepping in short notice to fight Marcin Tybura.
Okay.
This guy has fought, like I was putting together his tape index. He has fought so many fucking people. 37-2.
Holy shit.
Look at just some of these names.
Shane Del Rosario.
This is in 2009. He fought Shane Del Rosario. Alexander Volkov in 2010 beat him. Joachim Christensen, former UFC guy. Sokoju in a kickboxing fight.
Ray Lopez. Mario Miranda. I remember that guy. Rodney Wallace.
Trevor Prangley.
Okay.
Remember from Strikeforce? Magomed Ankalaev, he lost that fight in the 4th round. That was a title fight.
Ankalaev is a beast. He's a top UFC guy, yeah.
And then he went over to PFL and was just murking shit. Jordan Johnson, he lost that decision. It was a draw decision, but they have like that weird scoring where like they only do 1 round or 2 rounds or something, and then whoever wins after that, even if it's a draw, the person who won the first round moves on.
Oh yeah.
It's such a weird format that they have. But yeah, that's his only like loss, which is why he didn't fight for the championship thing there. But it's a crazy record coming into the UFC, and I thought he was supposed to be a light heavyweight. He's fighting Tybura at heavyweight.
Okay.
I believe this was light heavyweight. So he's probably just doing it on short notice.
Yeah.
But yeah, another good signing from the UFC. There's a lot of these Russian guys that are getting these opportunities because of Fight Island. Like a lot of these guys,
right there, yeah.
Even the UK guys, they're getting a lot of opportunities because it's over there.
Yeah, like it's kind of like an overseas card.
There's been a bunch of guys being pulled because of COVID, or they test positive, or they're not able to get the flight over their visa or anything like that. So these guys that are already there, they're like, I'm ready. Just like for UFC Vegas when they had those 4 events here, there's a couple late dropouts, but guys that trained at Extreme Couture or Syndicate based out of Las Vegas, they were the ones that were stepping in. Right? Because
it's funny, because even though Fight Island's supposed to be technically more of like for domestic type events, because they're big giant pay-per-views and stuff, those are more supposed to be in Vegas. But now the bigger events, because they're in Fight Island, it's now on the other side of the world in Europe, so it's actually giving those guys a better chance to be on bigger cards.
It's good that they're starting it off with that UFC 251 card, because it's fucking massive.
Like if I fought in Europe, like look at, for instance, Amir Khani. This guy is always on a Sunday afternoon fight night in Sweden or Saturday fight night in Germany, somewhere like that. Now he's on for, I think the first time I can remember, even though it's technically...
I think he fought Shane Burgos at UFC 246.
Now, whatever, he's on a pay-per-view at least. He gets to fight at home, but he's on a bigger card, a pay-per-view.
Yeah, this like his UFC 244. Sorry,
that was like the first time I ever saw him.
But yeah, look at that. Yeah, you're right. Stockholm, Liverpool, London.
Yeah, it's
Berlin, Stockholm. Pretty much only fought in the US once under the UFC banner. What was I looking at? Oh yeah, the next card for the Wednesday card. Let's just look into that a little bit. And then on the next episode, we'll talk about the Saturday card that's coming up after. But headlined by Calvin Kattar versus Dan Ige.
Ige making a quick turnaround, trying to jump those rankings.
He is busy. Like he just fought Barbosa. Busy. You know what I mean? Questionable decision to a lot of people. I believe we scored that fight for him, so he won that fight in our eyes. At least
rewatch that second round. People, everyone thinks Edson Barbosa.
I've already forgot about it. Tony's fucking memory is ridiculous.
If you rewatch it. Ige won more of the round overall.
What do you think about the placement here in regards of the main and co-main? Because we got Kattar and Ige headlining, and then you got Pedro Munoz versus Frankie Edgar in the co-main event.
I'm totally okay with it. In terms of being bigger names, Ige and they're you got the veteran Frankie, but for ranking, I feel like wise Edgar, for the present day, Ige and Kattar, I think is the bigger fight. But I get what you're saying. That why aren't they using Frankie's name?
Well, he is clearly on the poster as well too. Yeah. So you see him there. But it's good that they're actually giving Kattar and Ige those extra 2 rounds, because that might be what it comes down to. You know what I mean? What if these guys go 3 rounds and it's super fucking close? But I don't think it's going to be close. I think Kattar's going to go out there and absolutely style on him.
I think Kattar is easily going to win this fight. I mean, good win for Ige over Barboza, but he largely had to do that because he was kind of losing technically and then crowded him, like got into Barboza's face. I don't see him doing that to Cater. If he does that to Cater, he's just going to get knocked out with some 1-2 or something. Like, the boxing is too crisp for Cater.
Minus 275 for Cater. That's pretty fitting, to be honest.
Yeah. And after a war like that with Barboza, this
very
is a tough
quick
fight,
turnaround.
Man. He's probably going to get put out. Realistically, it should be a TKO for Calvin Cater.
He fought May 16th is when he fought.
Yeah.
So May, June, July, just under 2 months afterwards.
I can see like a third, fourth round TKO.
Yeah.
For,
return of Mr. Abdul Razak Al Hassan. Remember him? So
yes.
He had those allegations, those rape allegations against him.
Nico Price in like a minute.
Yeah, and then he had this thing where like these 2 women accused him of
then
rape.
he was not guilty. Yeah.
And then he was not guilty, and now he's coming back. But man, he is so fun to watch. Like, look at all of his fights. One fight only in his career has gone past the second round, and it was a decision loss against Omari Akhmedov, which is his only loss. Otherwise, just knockout after knockout after knockout. Not even one submission. All knockouts.
Man, this is the type of guy who he faces a wrestler, and by round 2, you're like, oh, he has no gas.
Yeah,
like I'm
exactly.
I need to see him knocking dudes or like fully not tired in the third round.
He is welterweight Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, well,
pretty much.
Let's see if he's got the cardio.
Let's see if he's got the cardio. I don't know too much about this guy. He's
Someone's going to wrestle him and test it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what this Laziz guy's style is. It's obviously his UFC debut. Other fights on the card: Chris Fishgold versus Jared Gordon. That's an interesting fight at featherweight. Yeah. Molly McCann coming back against Taylor Santos. Ricardo Ramos. I'm always fun and excited to see that guy fight. Very fun fighter against Lerone Murphy. If you remember Lerone Murphy, he had that draw against Zubera Tukagov at UFC 242. Very close fight.
I think that was one I didn't watch. I heard about it and never ended
He looks like a shorter, more jacked Leon Edwards, pretty much. They're both British. It's fucking hilarious. John Phillips fighting a UFC debut, Dusko Todorovic. Tim Elliott making a quick turnaround against Ryan Benoit. Weird fight there.
Ryan Benoit still fights in the UFC?
And that's really about it. Both of these guys, their opponents fell out. I think one of these guys was actually fighting a training partner of Khabib's, and the guy pulled out after his dad died, just to like be with them and stuff, right?
That's one thing we should probably touch on real quick.
Yeah.
Well,
we're almost done this card anyway. When was the last time Benoit fought? December of 2019.
I just remember.
Oh yeah, and then before that was November 2017.
He got lucky with Sergio Pettis, but everyone else just schools on him. Like anyone good just beats him up pretty easily.
Yeah, he split decision over Freddie Serrano, and then KO head kick of Ashkan Mokhtarian. But the Mokhtarian brothers are just the worst fighters of all time, easily.
God.
Yeah. So let's talk quickly about Khabib's pops.
Yeah, because like the whole thing is now, when will he fight again? This is kind of always the question, but this is also one you can't really blame him with.
Yeah.
Like, I hope no one's like, oh, man, no, he's going to take... Dude, his dad just died.
And he was a very, very integral part.
And they're super tight. We know how tight they are. That's not just his father, but his coach. So this is literally a guy who he spent probably like all his time growing up with. So much of his time was with his dad. He says, like, it doesn't matter what he wants. If his dad says something, he does what his dad wants. So they're super tight. He's lost him now. Definitely going to throw in a wrench in the plans for that Gaethje Khabib fight, but he should also just take some time off. Or maybe he's just going to be like, after a couple of weeks, he's just going to want to go into beast mode and fight for him or something. I don't know.
Just in memory of him or something like that.
I'm just curious to see how that works out. Although I don't see Khabib being that guy who's like, I'm going to fight for my dad. Like, I don't think they're like that as much.
I saw a quote somewhere where it was saying, like, Khabib's dad was saying, like, you know, if I died today, I'm happy. Everything that I accomplished, and my son's a world champion.
I'd say so. He did a lot in his time. Shit,
he did a lot for not just Khabib, but like other fighters
Everyone
too.
Respects him there.
He's like, I think they call him the Godfather of Dagestan. It makes sense.
For fuck's sake,
right?
So it's quite a legacy to live.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think we'll still see Khabib because Khabib has talked about retirement. Like, I think he only has a couple fights left in him anyway.
Well, he said that a bunch too, but I think it's more fight to fight with that guy. Like, it's just like, all right, I fought now, and do I have motivation to do this again? Because he is rich. He's been rich since the Conor fight. He doesn't need to, like, he didn't need to fight Dustin Poirier.
No.
He could have just walked off into the sunset after that, but I think he's just a competitor, and why the fuck not?
I think for his legacy, like he even talked about, like the Ferguson fight, that was for his legacy. This Gaethje fight's going to be for his legacy.
This is one thing I respect about Khabib. he cares about the things that fans care about a lot, like
Legacy,
like
over money.
like I want to fight that guy because that's the guy everyone says that like no one's gonna undisputedly tell me I'm the best unless I get that guy.
Yeah.
So I need to get him on my resume. Like he's not just about money at this point because he's just like no. Now it's about my legacy.
Well, he's
what I leave
openly
behind.
said, he goes, I could have like easily fought that other guy again and made a lot of money, but no, I want to fight Poirier because he was next, and no, I want to fight Ferguson because he's next. I could do all these legacy fights, right? So good for him to have that type of
doesn't need
mentality. Like
He doesn't need money. He
Gaethje,
can do anything in
that's so
Dagestan
true.
and kill it.
Yeah, well, he has that gym now that he has to run too, right?
Just
That was
his
his dad.
name.
His-
Khabib can open up anything and it
Yeah.
will be a success in Dagestan. He's like, I'm pretty sure he's like royalty there.
Must be easily.
Yeah.
Dude, one thing that I was looking up the other day is like, like where, you know how big Russia is, obviously, but where exactly these places are within Russia. Like, do you know where exactly Dagestan is?
Clue.
It's such a trip because it's like right
I
beside
have terrible
Georgia.
sense of geography.
Yeah.
Like that's probably my weakest.
But
I don't know where anything
like
is.
Georgia, Armenia. So this is like southern Russia, all the way down here.
Okay, where's
This is where Dagestan is. This is where Moscow is. St. Petersburg is up here, which is another famous like
so? It's
Russia
almost
place.
like a northern Europe.
Pretty much. And then there's a guy, I don't know if you remember Grigory Popov. He fought Eddie Wineland and he fought another guy. He's from like all the way over here.
Okay, it's a totally different.
And what's his face? Peter Yan is from like up here.
Oh well, that's
Yeah.
why Peter Yan's such a fucking hard ass.
Because he's from
Do you
like
know
northern
how
Russia.
tough it probably
Yeah.
is to live that far north? Russia's cold in general.
Yeah.
Now let's go way up north in Russia. Like we live in Canada.
I know.
But if
that's
you-
way more north.
If you drew the U.S. border as more of a straight line,
Yeah.
we would actually be in the northern part of America. But because the border goes underneath the Great Lakes and comes back up, we end up in Canada.
Yeah, we're
so
lucky, yeah.
weather-wise, we're more like Northern America. We don't know how the fuck it is up north
Yeah,
in Canada.
look at
That's
this,
a different
look at
story.
this. So-
Same shit here.
This is where Peter Yan's from. This is where Toronto is. So he's way more north than us.
Growing up in conditions like that.
I know. Even like
Jesus.
Saskatchewan, when I go to visit Saskatchewan, it's like middle right here. So like it's right around here, and still look how much more north.
Dude, for
fucking
us
Peter
is
Yan.
like drive-
Dudinka, Russia is where he's from.
For us, it's like you drive two hours north into Barrie, and it's
Yeah.
like, holy fuck, it's cold. There's
Yeah,
snow
exactly.
everywhere.
That's so true.
Imagine up there, dude.
So
Holy
nuts.
shit.
Dudinka, Russia is where
There's
he's
places
from.
in Russia where I remember reading about this one city or town that was like always like minus 40, minus 50 degrees. And they have no plumbing because they can't dig into the ground. It's solid all the time. And they have to eat certain foods that they can't grow.
That's
like
fucked
it's
up.
like, why do you live here? Like
You
imagine
can
having to go into
easily
that.
move.
Imagine having to pee in the middle of the night and it's minus 45. And you have to walk to the outhouse because there's no plumbing.
Fuck that.
What the fuck?
I'd
is
rather
that?
piss myself. Honestly.
It would come out an icicle.
Ah,
it would
that's
turn
so
into an icicle
true.
as it came out.
I don't get it. And I was actually trying to find out like how long of a drive it is from like Moscow to Dagestan. I don't know what Russia's doing, but we're not able to get directions. Because
Is there no road?
There's nothing. Like you can't even like.
They're
it
so
says-
hard. Like you have to travel with backpack on foot, or on a horse, or something like on an animal. There's no roads.
Yeah.
They're too manly for that shit.
Let's see, Dagestan.
Only bitches drive on roads.
Look, this is all that comes up. Oh, there is now. Oh, that's
there you
weird.
go. All right.
I swear I looked at it the other
22
day.
hours.
22 hours.
North,
25
just
hours.
straight north.
From Moscow down to Dagestan.
Just straight
Wait, let's
north.
see where, hold on, to get to where Peter Yan's from.
That's like us going to Thunder Bay, isn't it? Something like that.
Something, Thunder Bay is about 16 hours.
Oh Jesus! And
See,
it's
look-
not even that north. God.
See, they don't even have directions from where fucking Peter Yan is to Moscow.
Piran made it to Moscow by like walking
Probably.
for months.
Just fucking kicking and punching every tree
One
on the
day,
way.
just decided I want to see what the real world is like, and that's the story of Peter Yan. He
Such
walked
a
into a
trip.
boxing gym in Moscow, and that's it.
It's such a trip, though. It must be like a super small town.
Oh, right off the
too, right?
water.
Yeah, let me see the satellite. Yeah, look how small town that is, dude.
That is so tiny.
Fuck.
This
It's
is
like-
what again?
This is where Peter Yan's from.
Okay, holy shit, dude. What's that's got to have like a population of like 50,000.
Let's see.
That's a small town.
Dink up 22,000.
Jesus, even smaller. 22,000.
It's considered a Siberian town as well. So
22,000.
That's insane. That's small.
We're in Brampton where it was like, what?
500
600,000? 500,000? And Brampton doesn't feel like that big a place. So it's like, how
huge.
small does this
600,000? What's Mississauga? That's in the millions, right?
900 probably now. Well, these are 3 years old too. 2017 numbers. So it's over a million by now. I've heard people tell me that Brampton's actually closer to a million, but just relative to 22,000.
Yeah, that's insane. That's a very, very small town.
Yeah, like if you filled up the ACC. If you filled up the ACC in Ricoh Coliseum, that's the population pretty much.
Oshawa's only 170,000, and that seems kind of small.
And that's supposed to be a tiny one.
Yeah. God damn.
Driving up
well, hopefully Peter Yan is able to bring back a title to Dudinka, Russia.
That would be quite the accomplishment for them.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
I think that's a good bow on this week. We'll do next week. We'll do obviously 251 recap, and then we'll look forward to the Saturday card, which is because we've already just covered the Wednesday card. What the fuck is it? Let me see real quick. Do you know off the top? Actually, wait, it should be here. Figueiredo versus Benavidez 2. That's on the 18th. That's a solid card from top to end.
Nervous for Benavidez.
Hermanson against Gastelum. Hermanson against Gastelum as well too. So that's a decent card. We'll look forward to that next week. But yeah, obviously no deciding splits because we got nothing to splitly decide. You know what I mean? And yeah, so just comment, subscribe, do all of that shit. Do you have any final parting words for the people? All right, cool.
Nope.
We'll do this shit again next week.
And whiskey ginger?
Yeah. One word or phrase while I go turn this shit off. No. All right, we'll see you guys next week. You guys know what to do. See you next week.